Marjorie Taylor Greene is finally saying the quiet part out loud, and in doing so, she's incriminating Donald Trump. The woman who was once one of his closest allies is now openly laying out his crimes, and that's exactly what she did this morning in a blistering post that perfectly captures the civil war erupting inside MAGA. It also gives us a glimpse into Marjorie Taylor Greene's future, which, to put it mildly, looks increasingly strange as her potential resignation from Congress looms. We're going to break down exactly what she said, why it has Donald Trump panicking, and what it all means. But before we do, if you could leave a like on this video, and if you enjoy the channel, hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, Marjorie's latest attack on Trump and how she ended up incriminating him is directly tied to what he did this morning, his illegal strike on Venezuela. And Rachel Maddow broke down the latest developments right here.
Just pardon the former president of Honduras, who was convicted of sending hundreds of tons of drugs into the United States. If this was about something about the illegitimacy of Maduro's election, well, that's something that the U.S. is, decrying any other country policing. We just sanctioned Brazil for having tried to protect itself from a coup by its former president, Jair Bolsonaro. I mean, if it's about gangs, we had the president of El Salvador, who is believed by U.S. law enforcement to be very linked with the notorious gang MS-13, which has caused incredible damage in the hemisphere, including in the United States. He's invited into the Oval Office, and the president says that he's looking forward to sending homegrown Americans to that president's essentially, jungle concentration camps. So all of the purported explanations for what's happened here don't stand up to logical scrutiny. The president has never articulated a coherent rationale for having done this. This seems like Marco Rubio's dream, not Donald Trump's dream. So I'll be very interested to hear what the president is able to piece together in terms of an articulable rationale for having done this. That said, he's done it. And so, in the immortal words of General Colin Powell, you break it, you own it. And it's one thing to do that on the other side of the world. It's another thing to do that so close to home here in our hemisphere. I don't know if they have any plan for what to do now that they have invaded, bombed, and removed the president of that country. But I'll be happy to hear an America First rationale for it, whatever it is.
And the administration kind of sort of laid a little bit of it out in its national security strategy that it came out with a little while ago. This whole concept, sort of a renewal of the Monroe Doctrine, that what happens in our hemisphere is our business and what happens elsewhere is someone else's business. That said, this is the interesting question. Donald Trump wanted to get rid of Maduro in his first term. Marco Rubio, as you said, is very determined to have gotten rid of Maduro and says that there's nothing else to happen now that they've got him. The question is what happens, because Venezuela is a tricky country, and we don't necessarily know what the plan is hereafter.
Exactly. I mean, the president in his remarks on Fox and Friends this morning, which is still just an astonishing choice by a president to have done this before he formally addresses the nation. He called into Fox and Friends and effused about how he felt like he was watching a television show when he was watching the feed of what was going on there, which is just disheartening to have a president who's that who has that kind of a mindset about these things. But he also said, essentially sort of ad-libbing, trying to explain why this was a good thing, that, in Venezuela, he was essentially a dictator, as if that was the justification for the United States going in there and physically removing the president of that country. I mean, nobody thinks that Maduro is a good guy or has a lot of confidence in the way that he was holding on to power. But again, the president of El Salvador calls himself, the world's coolest dictator, or whatever it is, that phrase is that he uses for himself. There's lots of countries around the world with de facto, arguable, or official dictatorships. If it is now the Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine that we invade and remove the leadership.
When I say there is no reasoning behind these strikes, sure, there is reasoning. Donald Trump is going to talk about oil. He's going to make a bad faith argument. Of course, deep down, we know he wants to distract from the Epstein files. He wants to expand his authoritarian project. But really, there is no justifiable reason, and especially no justifiable reason for every supporter of Donald Trump's who believed they were getting no new wars, one of the worst lies told by his campaign in 2024. And they have gotten the opposite. And it is why Marjorie Taylor Greene is ripping Donald Trump to shreds in a post that just incriminates his latest criminal act and gives an important glimpse into what the future of MAGA looks like as everything is falling apart for Donald Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene wrote on Twitter, "I've served on the Homeland Security Committee for the past 3 years. I'm 100% for strong, safe, secure borders and stopping narco-terrorists and cartels from trafficking deadly drugs and human trafficking into America." But she wrote, if U.S. military action and regime change in Venezuela was really about saving American lives from deadly drugs, then why hasn't the Trump administration taken action against Mexican cartels? And if prosecuting narratists is a high priority, then why did Donald Trump pardon the former Honduran president who was convicted and sentenced for 45 years for trafficking hundreds of tons of cocaine into America? Ironically, cocaine is the same drug that Venezuela primarily traffics into the U.S. Americans' disgust with our government's never-ending military aggression in support of foreign wars is justified because we are forced to pay for it. And both parties, Republicans and Democrats, always keep the Washington military machine funded and going. That is what many in MAGA thought they voted to end. Boy, were we wrong. Marjorie Taylor Greene has, over the past few months, started to see very clearly where MAGA is headed. And I know, and you all know, I'm not someone who likes to give Marjorie Taylor Greene any credit, and I'm not really doing that here. But I am genuinely interested in what her future looks like, because it also signals the beginning of the end for Donald Trump. The version of a new MAGA movement that Marjorie Taylor Greene seems to want has no room for Donald Trump in it. And part of that effort is exactly what she just did. Not only calling out the criminality of these strikes, but clearly stating that Donald Trump committed a crime. He did not go to Congress. And frankly, even if he had gone to Congress, I wouldn't have wanted Congress to give its approval. I also have real concerns about Democrats here. I worry that they will repeatedly say, Donald Trump didn't go to Congress. This is illegal. You have to go to Congress first, while failing to emphasize what may be the most politically important point of all, that we do not want forever wars. We do not want useless, never-ending, resource-draining, country-destabilizing wars. We did that for decades. And it's true that both Democrats and Republicans, to different degrees, were part of that never-ending military machine that Marjorie Taylor Greene now talks about. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not the first person to make this argument. When Bernie Sanders pointed out early in Trump's administration that if you want to talk about bloated budgets, you should look at the Pentagon, I was cautious about giving any ground to people like Elon Musk. I don't think Bernie gave much ground at all. But I also don't think we should suddenly say, wow, Marjorie Taylor Greene is so right. She is saying things progressives have been saying for a long time. She is calling out Trump's crimes. She is calling out how he has betrayed MAGA. What matters most to me, though, is that Marjorie Taylor Greene appears to be on her way out. And once she's out of Congress, not that she ever did much work there, she will have one primary mission: to pull as many people as possible away from Donald Trump's version of MAGA. And that matters directly in the context of Trump's illegal strikes. In my view, there are many bad and deeply personal reasons for why Trump is carrying out these strikes, but one of the biggest is that he is now more concerned than ever about his base. For a long time, Trump's base was baked in. It came with the car. He never had to win them over. He fed them red meat. Lock her up. Barack Hussein Obama, Sleepy Joe, and they fell in line. From day one, they were loyal. That has changed. Now, for the first time, Trump is being outflanked within MAGA itself. And I think this useless, unjustifiable, illegal war is partly about Trump believing that his base will once again fall in line. He thinks the so-called no new wars MAGA crowd will accept whatever flimsy justification he offers. Right now, that justification is oil, 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 oil. There is no coherent argument. Trump grabs onto a word, repeats it, and his base repeats it without understanding any substance behind it. Ask a MAGA supporter why Trump is doing this, and they'll say narco-terrorism. Ask them why he pardoned a convicted drug trafficker, and they'll have no answer. Then they'll say oil. Ask what that means, and they won't be able to explain it. Trump himself can't explain it either. He'll just ramble about how oil is beautiful, liquid gold, how we're going to take it, and that's it. This doesn't lower the cost of living. It doesn't make groceries cheaper. The energy argument isn't working. The democracy argument doesn't work either because Trump doesn't believe in democracy. So what exactly is Trump selling his supporters? He has nothing real. And this is where Marjorie Taylor Greene comes in because she has receipts. I fully expect her to go on every show, every podcast, and make herself very visible. I wouldn't be surprised if she offers under-oath testimony about Trump pressuring her to block the release of the Epstein files. This is deeply personal for her. Trump refused to support her run for Senate or governor in Georgia. This is a grudge. This is not a good faith awakening. This is revenge. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is not going to let it go. That is going to further fracture MAGA. And frankly, I'm ready to watch it all fall apart. We'll continue covering it on this show. And if you want to support that, hit subscribe, leave a like, and if you made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.